He said, when there will be more evil persons than the good ones, to the point when, listen to this, when the believers will hide themselves. يستخفي منهم المؤمن كما يستخفي المنافق فينا اليوم. The believers will hide themselves, too ashamed or too embarrassed or too scared to show themselves that they are believers, just like the way Rasul said, just like the way hypocrites today hide themselves. Hypocrites. In Medina there were 17 hypocrites who used to look like Muslims on the outside, but they were actually spies, there to plan and plot for the destruction of the Muslims. So they used to act like Muslims, but they were actually disbelievers on the inside. There were 17 of them. No one knew about them except the Rasul and Hudayf ibn al-Yaman. Even Umar radiallahu anhu asked, who are they? And he wouldn't tell him. They were like that. And he said, it will come a time where the believers will hide themselves because of the amount of the corruption that's out there. But Rasul said, the believers begin to feel shy to show that they're believers. They're too afraid. They don't want to get up and feel proud of it. Abadan. Because they're afraid that they'll be blamed by their friends and told, look at you, you're acting like a Muslim now. And subhanAllah, one of the worst things we hear now is this trend where young people call each other this 3 letters acronym, FRG they call it, fake religious guy or girl. And to deter people away from trying to be religious, Rasul tells us, he tells us in this hadith, this ummah will always be under the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and within and under His protection, under His care, so long as its scholars and its reciters of the Quran do not become hypocrites only to please its leaders, and so long as the righteous people do not give fame to those who are criminals, and so long as the good of them, the good people, do not submit to the bad of its people. For when they do this, Allah will lift His care from them, and He will allow for the oppressors to be upon them, and they will oppress them in such a hardship that will afflict upon them torture, and then poverty will afflict them as a nation. Is this not the case now in the Arab world? Yes, it is. Zainab radiallahu anha, the daughter or the wife of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he also had a wife named Zainab, he once woke up from his bed with his face pale, and he said, وَيْلٌ لِلْعَرَبْ مِنْ شَرٍ قَدْ اقْتَرَبْ. Woe to the Arabs specifically, from a badness, a terrible evil that has come very near to them. This is 1,400 years ago. And he made this with his finger, he did a little ring, and he said, the radam, the seal that has been placed around Ya'juj and Ma'juj, Gog and Magog, this much has been opened from it. Allahu A'lam what this means for us. But what it does, what is important is that Zainab radiallahu anha, she said, Ya Rasulullah, anuhlaku wa fina salihun. Will we be destroyed or will we suffer like this? And while there are among us those who are righteous and innocent, Rasul said, yes, إِذَا كَثُرَ الْخَبَثِ. If immorality, immodesty, badness, evil, it expands and spreads and becomes the prevailing thing. So what will happen to these innocent, righteous people? Rasul said, يُبْعَثُ عَلَى نِيَّاتِهِمْ. They'll be gathered on the day of judgment on what they died upon, on their good intentions. For Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tells us, I want you to listen to this beautiful hadith, which is in Bukhari and Muslim. He said, كَيْفَ بِكُمْ. What will you do when? Iraq. مُنِعَتِ الْعِرَاقُ قَفِيزَهَا وَدِينَارَهَا. When Iraq is denied its currency. The qafizaha is the old currency of Iraq. What will be your state and what will you do when Asham, when its currency is denied? And what will you do when Egypt, its currency will be denied? And you return to where you began in the first place. What does this mean? When Iraq is denied its currency, when a country falls, its currency falls as well, doesn't it? And you no longer deal with its currency. Another currency replaces it. Rasul ﷺ, or the narrator of this hadith, the Rasul ﷺ was asked, how will it fall? And he said, by foreign intervention. Foreign intervention. Al-Ajam. We live therefore in a time that is paving the way for the coming of this person called Ad-Dajjal. Ad-Dajjal literally means the lion, the deceiver. And this deceiver cannot deceive people so perfectly until a road or an environment has been prepared for his coming. Ad-Dajjal requires that the environment has to be set up for it. And with all this Dajjal, this era of deception we live in today, you look at the media and you don't know what to believe anymore. You trust Al Jazeera, then the next day you see something, you think, oh my God, can I really trust it? You trust another media site, and then the next day something kills you. And where do you go? Media is the most powerful tool today that has ever existed. The most powerful. And we do not live in a world of wars with weapons anymore. It is a war of ideology and media, deception upon deception upon deception. So these are only the beginning of what is yet to come, brothers and sisters. The result of it, well, over time the Muslims left the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and became materialistic. It's as simple as that. Materialistic, competing with materialism, and selfishness, thinking about ourselves, and putting our deen in our hands and our world on our heads, so that if the hat on our heads gets out of place, which is our dunya, we put what is in our hands on the floor, which is our deen, in order to fix our dunya. If the dunya is fixed, I'll grab the deen. If the dunya is wrecked, I'll wait. I don't have to practice the deen right now. This is the metaphor I give you. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to release us from the misery that we are in now. I'm talking about the misery of our hearts.